Welcome, true crime and mystery enthusiasts, to a journey into the dark corners of human curiosity. Today, we delve into a chilling tale from Mammoth Cave National Park, a story of ambition, heroism, and ultimately, tragedy. This is the story of the Sand Cave Incident, also known as the Sand Cave Tragedy at Mammoth National Park. Dim the lights and prepare to hear the story of a saga that captivated the nation. Mammoth Cave, nestled in the rolling hills of Kentucky, is not just a cave, it's a labyrinth, a subterranean world of unparalleled scale and mystery. It boasts the longest known cave system on Earth, with over 400 miles worth of cave being explored. For centuries, its vast chambers and narrow passages have beckoned adventurers, scientists, and thrill seekers alike. But beneath its awe-inspiring beauty lies a potential for danger, a stark reminder that even the most experienced can be humbled by the raw power of the underground. Our story begins in winter 1925. This is a time in Kentucky when cave diving is starting to gain a lot of popularity. Being as cave owners were starting to commercialize their properties, a lot of people were taking the jump into buying new land for the opportunity to explore and hopefully commercialize that property in the future. This later became known as the Cave Wars. Eager landowners looking to take advantage of the tourism in the community boasted a lot of people. One of such people was Floyd Collins. Floyd Collins was a true Kentuckian, born and bred in the shadow of Mammoth Cave. Caving wasn't just a hobby for him, it was a way of life, a skill passed down through generations. He was known for his intimate knowledge of the cave system, his daring spirit, and his relentless pursuit of new discoveries. His dream was to find a new, grand entrance to the Mammoth Cave system, one that he could help develop into a profitable tourist attraction. This dream led to an unassuming opening on his family's property, a place he eventually called Sand Cave. On January 30th, 1925, Floyd, then 37 years old, ventured into Sand Cave. He believed his particular passage held the key to unlocking a vast, unexplored section of the underground. Armed with a lantern and a pickaxe, he squeezed through tight crevices driven by the promise of discovery. He pushed deeper and deeper, past narrow squeezes and dusty chambers, convinced he was on the verge of a breakthrough. Then, disaster struck. While navigating through a particularly constricting passage, a large rock fell, trapped his left leg. After twisting, turning, pushing, pulling, it was no use. Floyd realized he was trapped, alone, in the dark. Now, the location of Sand Cave was about 150 feet off of the main road. Not only this, the location of where Floyd was inside Sand Cave was about 150 feet from the entrance, 60 feet down. He was a bit away from help. Floyd's dream had turned to a nightmare. Pushing and pulling the rock, he realized it was of no use. At this point, panic must have set in, Floyd slowly realizing his true predicament. Now, this next part is a bit debated. I've heard different stories of what could have happened. One story is the next day, his brother Homer was on the family farm and decided to go looking for Floyd. Obviously, knowing that he was trying to get through Sand Cave, he went there and found him there. But another variation of this same story I've heard is a gentleman named Ewell instead found Floyd in Sand Cave. Not sure exactly which one is the verified story. Obviously, this was the 1920s. You know, they had good data collection and whatnot then, but as time goes on, the game of telephone gets even longer. Let's just assume for the remainder of this story that Homer was in fact the one that found him. The only reason I'm saying this, That's because I like the idea that the brother, decided to hop off the horse. He was like, hey, my boy isn't here. Where's my dog at? I gotta go look for my man Floyd. So he did exactly that. Bada boom, bada bing. Pound him. Anyway, it wasn't until the next day that his family realized something was wrong. His brother Homer set out towards Sand Cave to go looking for him, which, as I said, he found him. When he discovered Floyd and realized his horrific situation, he immediately went back to town and raised the alarm. Soon, news of the trapped caver spread like wildfire through the local community. The initial rescue attempts were fraught with peril. The passage leading to Floyd was incredibly narrow, a serpentine crawlway that barely allowed one person to pass at a time. Rescuers, many of them fellow cavers and local volunteers, bravely pushed through, bringing him food, water, and moral support. They could hear his voice, faint but resolute, begging them to free him. Word of Floyd Collins' plight quickly reached the outside world, thanks to the burgeoning power of radio and telegraph. Suddenly, a small local tragedy transformed into a national spectacle. Reporters from across the country descended upon Sand Cave, turning the remote Kentucky hillside into a bustling media circus. The rescue effort became a race against time, a desperate struggle against the unforgiving geology of Sand Cave. Engineers, geologists, experienced miners, everybody they could think of was called in. Their initial assessment was grim. The rock pinning Floyd to the wall was too large to move without risking collapse, and the passage itself was too unstable for any conventional digging. As days drug on, Floyd's conditioning growing ever weaker, the days slowly turned into a week. Floyd's leg was becoming gangrenous, and his strength was beginning to fade. As direct access to Floyd proved impossible because of the narrow passage, they had to come up with a new plan. The experts on scene decided to take a more drastic approach, to sink a shaft directly down next to Floyd's location. This was a monumental undertaking. Heavy drilling equipment, not previously able to be used due to the narrowness of the shaft, was finally brought in. Shifts of miners worked tirelessly, battling the unpredictable geology of Sand Cave. The drilling was slow, arduous, and teeming with danger. Floyd, in his increasingly weakened state, was becoming delirious and was communicating less and less. As food and water were passed to him, sometimes with difficulty, a medical student managed to reach him, providing what limited aid he could. But the constant fear was that any vibration from the drilling, any shift in the unstable earth, could cause a complete collapse, burying Floyd and potential rescuers forever. The emotional toll on everyone involved was immense. Rescuers worked until exhaustion, until collapse. Floyd's family maintained a constant vigil, clinging to hope. The nation held its breath, reading every news headline, listening to any new radio reports, trying to see what the results were going to be for Floyd Collins. At this point, everyone was praying for a miracle, but with Mother Nature being a cruel goddess, the weather turned. Freezing rain was now pelting the rescuers, hindering the efforts, and the constant moving of thousands of people around the site was only adding to the instability of the ground. On February 13th, 1925, after 13 agonizing days, the rescue shaft finally broke through. Hope surged, however, it was quickly extinguished. When rescuers reached Floyd, they found him unresponsive. Floyd had passed away. The official cause of death was exposure and starvation. His exact time of death is unknown, but it's believed he died days before the shaft ever reached him. Floyd's body was recovered and he was buried, initially in a local cemetery. But the story of Floyd Collins did not end there. His fame, or perhaps notoriety, continued even after his death. His body was actually stolen from its grave and later displayed in a glass coffin at his family's Crystal Cave, becoming a macabre tourist attraction for years. Eventually, after further controversy and outrage, Floyd was finally laid to rest for good in Mammoth Cave National Park Cemetery. The tragedy at Sand Cave left an incredible mark. It highlighted the dangers of early cave exploration, the power of nature, and the limits of human ingenuity in the face of overwhelming odds. But it also showcased the incredible resilience of the human spirit, the selflessness of rescuers, and the unifying power of a shared national experience. Today, the entrance to Sand Cave is largely forgotten by casual visitors, a quiet, unassuming scar on the landscape. There's no grand monument, just a historical marker that briefly mentions Floyd Collins. But for those who know the story, it remains a poignant reminder of a time when a simple cave explorer became a symbol of human perseverance and ultimately human vulnerability. The tragedy of Floyd Collins is a stark chapter in the rich history of Mammoth Cave, a testament to the fact that even in places of such profound beauty, the wilderness always holds the final say. Well, you made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate you for staying this long. If you have a video type that you want to maybe see me do, make sure you drop a comment. I'm more than happy to take a look at all those. If you have any ideas at all, I would love to hear them. If you enjoyed what you were watching, make sure you subscribe, drop a like. I hope you enjoyed this type of series of videos, these mysteries, true crime kind of thing. So if you want to see more, I'll see you here next time.